I wrote my first children's book, which is called You're a Bad Man, Mr. Gum, to make my little cousins laugh one Christmas about 7 years ago now. And I was so sick of never finishing anything that I decided to just sit down and write a story to make them laugh on Christmas Day and read it out to them like the old Victorian times. And when I read it to them, they didn't really listen because they'd eaten too much chocolate. So they didn't really pay much attention. And then I forgot about it for a couple of years. And then I rediscovered it and sent it off. And now the Mr. Gum books have been in the bookshops for about 4 years, I think. Well, the series is about a horrible old man called Mr. Gum, and he's got a great big red beard, and he never washes, he never brushes his teeth, he never brushes anyone else's teeth. He looks like an old-timey tramp, and he's a horrible man, and he's always trying to ruin the town of Lamonic Bibber. And there are 5 or 6, depending on how you count, Mr. Gum books out there at the moment, and Mr. Gum's in all of them just trying to ruin things. Like in one of them he tries to steal money from a gingerbread man with electric muscles, and in another one he tries to make a curse befall the town of Lamonic Bibber, and in another one something else happens which I've forgotten. The next Mr. Gum book is the 6th/7th Mr. Gum book, and it's called What's for Dinner, Mr. Gum, and it's coming out in October this year, and it's a story of love and war and meat products. And there's a man who falls asleep in a hedge at one point, and there's a little gingerbread man with electric muscles again. He's driving a taxi at some point, full-size taxi, and he's only about that big though. And it's pretty stupid. Like they all are. And there's a lot of greasy kebab action going on in What's for Dinner, Mr. Gum. There's some horrible kebab stuff. I don't want to say too much more. But there's all sorts of love and romance as well, kind of. Everything. It's got everything in it. Most of my readers are about 7 to 12. And then they turn into teenagers, and you can't read it then because they're not cool. But I think when they turn into sixth formers and university students again, some of them find them quite funny and cultish, and lots of parents like reading them to their kids because they make the adults laugh too sometimes. And some people don't like them. I mean, you can't please everyone, so what are you going to do? I mean, it's a stupid world. It's a stupid world. I can't. Is that what you want me to say? It's a horrible world, and I hate everybody. The illustrations are by this nice man called David Tasman who lives in South London. Hi David. And he we looked at lots of different illustrators and none of them were quite right. And there was a point at which I was going to be doing them myself. But I haven't really got the skill to just make a world and keep it consistent and have it come out exactly the way I want. But David, you just tell him what to draw and he draws it. So we found him at the last moment, and he took some of the designs that I'd already done for Mr. Gum and he changed some of the others. And every day I wake up and I go, yes, I don't have to illustrate the Mr. Gum books. That's David's job. Sometimes I make up a new character for one of the books, and then David shows me the design and I get to play with it a little bit and say, no, he needs a different hat or something. As some people may know, I am the winner of the first ever Roald Dahl Funny Prize. Me and David Tasman, actually, my illustrator. And we won it last year, and everybody said we were great for about a day, and then we were in all the papers, and then life went back to normal. But the important thing is that it's not about winning prizes and awards. It's about telling people you've won prizes and awards. And no, it's really fun. I mean, Roald Dahl was definitely one of my biggest inspirations. I don't think there'd be a kids author in the country who wouldn't say that. And he was just sort of as good as it gets. And so to win that and to be the first ever winner of that is fantastic. And this year I'm one of the judges. So I can't vote for myself, but there's lots of other good books out there. I'm really, really good at wasting time. I mean, unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it. You think you're probably good at wasting time out there, folks. I'm so much better than you. I can waste time, I can watch Simpsons DVDs and listen to Frank Zappa all day long. But I should be working on the next Mr. Gum book. I'm not sure what it's called yet. If I had a title or even anything that was going to happen in it, I'd tell you. But I don't. So, oh boy, that's the end of my career. If anyone wants to find out more about Mr. Gum, they can surf the net and they can go to mrgum.co.uk, which is the Mr. Gum site. Instead of going out and being healthy and playing sports, you can sit hunched up in front of a little computer screen like you're doing now if you're watching this. And you can, at mrgum.co.uk, you can do all sorts of things. There's funny games, and there's a section where I answer questions that are sent in sometimes, if I like them. And there's a section called the Lamonical Chronicle, which is a newspaper from the town of Lamonic Bibber that the books are set in, and sometimes you get an extra issue of a new issue of the Lamonical Chronicle, which is really stupid. It's Lamonic Bibber's second best and only newspaper. There you go, that's what you can do there. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the other characters apart from Mr. Gum. He's got a horrible sidekick called Billy William III, who's a really nasty butcher, who's just as grotty as Mr. Gum. Then there's a crazy old man called Friday O'Leary, who shouts out, "The truth is a lemon meringue," occasionally for no good reason. And then my favourite character is the little heroine, who's 9 years old, and she's called Polly, but she's actually got a longer name, so I will try and remember what her longer name is. So most people call her Polly, but her actual name is Jammy, Grammy, Lammy, Fahuppa, Berlin, Stereo, EO, Leb, Siep, Nermonica, Lestrapec, De Grespin, De Crespin, De Spespin, De Vespin, De Whoop, De Loop, De Brunkle, Merry Christmas Lenoir.